Welcome back to the show. Today we're pulling back the curtain on succession planning. And before you tune out, thinking, that's just for billionaires, consider this. 90% of family wealth disappears by the third generation. My guest today is a world-class succession strategist, known in private banking circles as a family endgame architect. The fascinating part? His tools work whether you've got $50,000 or $500 million. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. My elevator pitch is simple. I help people translate love and hard work into lasting security for the people and missions they care about. That could be a teacher with 2 kids or a family with retirement savings and grandkids.
Let's start broad. Why does everyone, no matter their net worth, need a succession plan?
For a typical family, the big fear is, if something happens to me, will my kids get stuck in probate? Imagine your spouse waiting 18 months just to access your bank account because your name wasn't on the paperwork. That's the reality for many families. For families with larger estates, the concern shifts. How do we pass on property, investments, or collections without sparking conflict or triggering a tax disaster? Here are the essentials. For a typical family, some quick wins include updating beneficiary forms and using transfer on death titles, writing a simple, state-specific will, considering term life or disability insurance, keeping a digital asset inventory in a secure password manager. For families with more wealth, the quick wins look like emergency instructions for company boards or trustees, trusts tailored to family needs, education, care, or multi-generational goals, clear ownership documentation for real estate and investments, a family council or structured check-in to avoid conflicts. And that's just the starting point. The next layer is tax planning, staggered payouts for minors, or charitable strategies. For ultra-wealthy families, it might also mean creating philanthropic foundations or building a governance structure that lasts generations. Different scale, same principle. Families fall apart when clarity is missing. And here's the urgency. The best time to start is when you feel like you don't need it. Because by the time you do, it's usually too late.
Stories make this real. Can you share some examples?
Of course, let me give you 2 snapshots. First story, the young family. 2 working parents with a house, retirement accounts, and 2 kids under 10. They wrote simple wills naming guardians for their children, updated beneficiary forms on retirement accounts, and bought term life insurance. The result, their children are protected, tuition and living costs are funded, and assets transfer directly without probate delays. They told me the weight lifted when they realized their kids wouldn't be caught in limbo if the worst happened. Second story, the retired couple. A retired couple with grown children and grandchildren. Most wealth was in retirement accounts and a paid-off house. They added transfer on death designations to investment accounts, created a healthcare directive and power of attorney, and documented funeral wishes. The result, their children avoid lengthy probate, medical decisions are clear, and family stress in a crisis is reduced. Their daughter told me, "For the first time, I'm not worried about fighting over decisions with my brothers."
What are your principles of 100-year families?
These are the principles I share with every client, no matter their wealth level. Start with why, not forms. Vision first, documents second. Design for failure. Assume someone forgets a password or key decision maker dies mid-flight. Build redundancy. Liquidity is lubrication. An illiquid estate sparks fire sales and lawsuits. Always keep a tax float fund ready. Governance beats genius. A mediocre plan plus clear rules outperforms a brilliant plan nobody can operate. Review at life triggers. Marriage, divorce, liquidity event, change of domicile, or new regulation. At minimum, do an annual checkup.
These sound less like technicalities and more like guiding rules for life.
Exactly. Succession is about behavior and clarity just as much as law and finance.
Okay, so let's say someone is listening and wants to get serious. What does working with a succession advisor actually look like?
I keep it systematic but simple. Here's the process. Clarify. A structured discovery call to understand family, assets, risks, and goals. Assess. A clear snapshot of current readiness. Ownership, governance, digital custody. Co-create options, side-by-side comparisons, costs, tax impact, complexity. Clients choose the path that fits. Coordinate experts. I quarterback lawyers, accountants, and custodians so clients aren't drowning in admin. Monitor. Annual reviews and availability in case of crisis. The goal is not just paperwork, it's peace of mind, knowing your family is protected.
Before we close, what's one action every listener should take before dinner tonight?
Make a list of every account and asset you own, yes, even your crypto wallets, and tell your executor or trustee where that list is stored. You've just built the foundation of a bulletproof succession plan.
And your final thought?
Whether you leave $50,000 or $500 million, your succession plan is your final love letter to your family. Write it well.
Beautifully said. Planning is love in a legal wrapper. Go put a bow on it.